Hey folks, Dave here. Uh, we are going to create a Halloween diorama, and I promise you it will look better than the one I made in grade school with a shoebox and some sticks and rocks. So stick around and we'll use some techniques and functions that'll help you with all of your holiday projects and beyond. We're going to use some free vectors from the internet, and I will put links down in the description so you can get directly to them. And everything we do today, you'll be able to do yourself, and it won't cost you anything. So let's go to top left, and we're going to pull in this tombstone vector. Remember to use your mouse wheel to scroll in and out, push down to move the entire canvas. And we're going to resize this to about 100 millimeters on width. It doesn't have to be exact. Don't worry about what the height is, just watch the width, and we will make our backdrop and stage proportionate. Okay, so now we're going to duplicate that. Pull it down. Then we are going up to arrange. We're going to flip vertical, and then we are going to grab the corner and drag this out to about a width of 150. Anything close is fine. Okay, now we're going back to the top tombstone. Right click, duplicate, drag it out, and we're just going to set this one off to the side. We're going to duplicate again and use this one up here. So we're going to grab the corner, resize it a little bit. Whatever you want to resize it to is fine, because we're going to just cut this hole out in the center of this. You can select the first object, shift, select the second object, and then hit this bullseye, and it'll center everything for you. I think we want to make it a little smaller so we can write something up at the top. So select again, center, and there we go. Now we want to subtract this shape from this shape. So you want to select the object that you're subtracting from, select it first, shift, select the object you're subtracting, go over to the left and click subtract. And the way you know for sure it worked is if you click off and then you just touch this outside one and they're already grouped, then you know it worked. You can check your preview and we have a hole in the center. Okay, so now we want to fancy that up a bit, so we're going to go grab a spider web and just scroll and get it resized, and we're going to just turn it around and put it here. And typically if you want to resize proportionately, you have to go to the corner, but we want this one to stretch and cover like so and touch the bottom. And now we're going to put this spider web in that hole, which means we have to do a union. So we need to select, and if I make mistakes, I'm going to leave them in here because fixing them just helps us all get a little better. So select the first one, the spider web, shift, select the second one, go over to union and click union, and that worked. That's good. Okay, so now the spider web is part of it, and again we know it worked if we touch the outside edge, pulling from the right, and everything selects. We know it's one object. Okay, so this object is almost done. but we will put some text. We're just going to write RIP. Remember, after you type text or you work with an object, go back up to the top left and click your arrow to select it. And we're just going to pull this over here, and I'm going down to the bottom left and selecting a palette I have set up for score. And remember, when you open an object or you write text, it's going to select the last palette you used, whatever that was. In my case, it was a line for a cut. And when you've got multiple layers, you never want to cut first. If you do, then your scoring or your engraving will be out of whack, and you don't want that. So if you grab your score, pull it to the top, and let your line cut drop down, and just keep your line cut on the bottom. Whatever other layers you make, keep the line cut on the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to duplicate that, and we've got our other tombstone over here we saved, and we're going to drop it, maybe not. Let's duplicate it again. I guess you have to do it right away and drag it out. Okay, now we got that. It's set for score, but we're going to make this smaller once we get some other characters in here. So now we can just move these closer together. Control Z, folks, will keep you from messing things up. So that needs to be grouped. Right click and group, so now it's all one. And we'll just pull them closer together so we can see everything a little bit better. We'll group this one. And then we will go get some more characters. We'll get a werewolf. We'll resize this werewolf, and we'll just make him about, well, we don't want him taller than the backdrop, so that's one way we can figure out how tall the werewolf needs to be. There's the backdrop, there's the werewolf, and that is somewhere close to 30 millimeters wide and 50 millimeters high. So let's just go with 50 on height. There we go, he's 50. So however he turns out, he turns out. Okay, so this werewolf, we want to just make it a score. So click score. And then we want to select the werewolf and do an outline over here on the left. And I've got it a distance of 1 millimeter off. Whatever works for you, do that. Because that'll be our cut line. We've got to put a tab on the werewolf's foot so it'll stand up on the stage that we're making. So there we have an outline. Then you want to scroll in a little closer, click only the outline, and you know you've selected by the dancing lines, and then you can select cut. So now we have a cut line around the werewolf. Now we want to put a tab on his foot. So go select a box, and we will make the tab about, we're using 3 millimeter plywood, so we'll just make in 3 by 10. So a width of 10 and should work. Now we will adjust, when we get to slots, we'll adjust for kerf a little bit. And so they'll fit a little tighter. And they don't have to be real tight. And you can play with it depending upon your kerf and just improve upon it. But we want to get the concepts down. So now we're going to touch the outline of the werewolf. You don't want to touch the score, or everything will turn red, and it may do it anyway if I'm too close. So you want to select the tab, shift, select the outline, and then click weld. And we're good. Okay, so now we have a welded tab on this werewolf, and then we will put a slot over here somewhere, and we can use this werewolf to judge the size of our other characters. Okay, let's go grab something else. Okay, let's get some zombies. Alright, we got some zombies. We're going to do the same thing we just done with the werewolf. And zombies should be at least as tall as werewolves, I would think. Werewolf might be a little taller, but we'll go with that. We're going to come over and we're going to do something slightly different. Because of this, the way it's a little jagged on the edge, and these guys are not attached, but we will attach them. So we're going to grab a box. We're going to come across and just touch them together. We're going to click our arrow so that's selected, and we're going to shift, click the other one, go over to the left, and click weld. So now we have more of a straight line. So now we will select it, and we can score it. Actually, I probably should have scored it before I touched this to it. So, okay, let's use Control Z and back up. And you can just keep backing up until you get that out of the way. So we're going to select the zombies. We're going to set them to score. Then we are going to select them again, do an outline. We'll just leave it at 1. And we will select the outline and go down and set it for cut. Then we will just drag it away from the rest. Then grab this, tie these guys together a little better. Select the tab, shift, and select the outline. Top left, select weld. And now we can put a tab, and I should have saved the tab that was on his foot, but that's okay, we'll make it again. So we're going to just make one a width of 10 and a height of 3. Okay. This time, oh well, Control Z. Back up, you got to hit this arrow up here to select, or you'll just make a bunch of boxes everywhere. This time we will duplicate it and just put it off to the side and save it. This one we will grab, and you can put it anywhere. It doesn't have to be exactly in the center. You can grab this line, watch the cursor get close to the line and it changes, and you can just snap it up to what you're connecting to. While it's selected, click Shift, click the outline, and then go over here and click Weld. Okay, so now we have a tab. Now, after you have your tabs set, like on the werewolf and anything else you put out there, you can no longer resize, or your tab won't fit in the slot that we're going to create. So now we can just pull this back over and make sure it makes a full outline, and it does, so we're good. So now we can select everything. And again, when you select, it's best just to pull from the right. You'll get a green line, and all you have to do is touch it. If you come from the left, you get a red line, touch, and nothing happens. So you have to select everything if you come from the left. If you come from the right, you just have to touch it. You can right click and group. Okay, so now our zombies are good, and they'll just go somewhere over here. Hopefully they're not too tall. I think they'll be okay. They're pretty big, but it'll be all right. Okay, so let's, and it's not about what we're putting in here. It's about the techniques and functions we're using to do it. So now we can resize this headstone, and we're going to use it in this graveyard. So we'll make it about that big, and I'm just guessing. Nothing says yours has to be that big. Okay, so now we want to get another tab. We'll just duplicate it in case we need it again. I don't think we do, but we'll see. We might. So then do the same thing. Grab, select the tab, select the line, then select the tombstone, top over on the left, and click weld. No, Control Z. I keep forgetting. You gotta have an outline, or you will have no scoring inside. I thought it would be okay, but I guess not, since we've got the rest in peace in there. So that's okay. So select, do an outline, click OK. Now let's see if we can touch the outline and do the same thing again. I think as long as we don't touch this inner part, we should be okay. Now we're going to shift, select the outside. Yep. And looks like we're good. Okay. So now we have our tombstone. And we'll just group that together. Pull it over here somewhere. And then, let's see. I think there's a cat in there. We can, it's not where I want to go. I make mistakes constantly, folks, and you will too, but that's okay. Let's go grab this cat. And get it resized. Yeah, he shouldn't be as big as the tombstone. I guess that would be a mountain lion if he was that big. Okay, so now we know we have to do an outline because I just messed that up. So let's just go ahead and make this guy score. And I didn't score the inner part on this tombstone. So I got to go back and fix that. Y'all bear with me, we'll get it right. So to fix my error, I've got to do some backing up. And this is how you have to do it, folks. We've got to get back to where we added that. Now we need to select the inner tombstone and click score. Now we're good. Now we can weld this one back. So click the tab, shift, click the tombstone, go over to the left, click weld. Okay, we're good. Now we can put it back on. I sit here and make mistakes all day, folks. But it's okay. I have a lot of patience. So we will select that group, pull our tombstone back over, go get our cat. Now we will resize the cat. And there's a whole lot of characters out there to get on the site. I'm going to put down in the description. Okay, maybe we'll get this one right the first time. We're going to select score. We're going to select the cat. We are going to do an outline, offset. We're going to scroll in, select the outer edge, make it a cut, and then we're going to try to put this tab on the cat. And if we select the tab, shift, select the outer edge, go over and hit weld, we're good to go. Okay, so now we've got to add some slots, and we're going to put on here, I think we'll just put a 3x20, but this is kind of jagged on the bottom, so let's straighten that out a little bit. We'll just put a straight piece on it. Doesn't matter how big it is, we're just trying to make it square along the bottom edge. So just grab your tab like that, shift, select the other piece, go down and click weld. There you go, that's a lot straighter. And then we'll move these guys out of the way because we never did group him. Control Z, folks. Grab that guy and group him together, and then you won't be making that mistake. Okay, so now we want a tab on here, and we're just going to make it 3x20. And then we're going to click this arrow, select it, pull it up. We're going to get in close, grab with your, and just snap it in there anywhere. And you can center, if you leave that selected and then you shift, select the object, and then you can click vertical alignment and it'll move to the center. Always select the object that you want to center first. If the object you want to move while it's centering, select it first. Okay, so now we want to weld. We're going to select the tab. We're going to shift, select the tombstone, and click weld. And there we go. So now we just need a slot for it to go into. So now we're going to just put a slot right here. And we're going to make it, we want it to fit a little tight. And the kerf is the amount of material that your laser takes out above and beyond what you have specified. So we need to make the slot smaller than the tab so it'll fit a little tighter. And sometimes that's a trial and error. So we're just going to make it 19 by about 2.4. And I'm just guessing, and you'll have to play around with your curve and see what you need to make it work. So to center this up, select the tab, or the slot rather, then shift and select the object and click. This must not be. I got to move these guys out of the way to do that because it believes they are part of it. Okay, so now we're going to select the tab, shift, select. If these guys up here are grayed out, then you know you didn't do something right. So vertical alignment, the tab moves because we selected it first. And now we will group that to make sure that tab doesn't move. And then we will put some slots for these other guys, and then we're going to make a fence. I know this is probably going a little long, but it's stuff that'll help you making things during the holidays and even afterward. Let's just make the fence first. Okay, go to, this fence is available as a spider web, so I was thinking I had a fence, but I don't have. We'll make a fence out of this spider web. How about that? Okay, it doesn't need to be really big. We'll make it a little larger than the cat. And once you get characters, just use that as a reference to make your others. Okay, so we will duplicate that spider web, and then we will duplicate it again. And we will just line these up. Not that way. Control Z. We need horizontal. There we go. We're lined up. Now we're going to need to tie them together. First we need to see if they'll fit. We just put them right here on the front. That looks pretty good. So we're just going to grab a box, get in closer so we can see. And we're just going to come across and tie these together. That looks pretty good. We're going to click. We're going to duplicate that and then drag us one up top. And then we will grab a box to make another one to go over here on the end. And just make it fit in there somewhere. Control Z, folks. Matter of fact, we need to weld that first one, so let's move this out of the way. And these have to be touching so we can weld them together. So we'll weld that one to this one. Now it's welded. And we'll grab this one and weld it to this one. And we're just selecting one, shift, select the next one. Now those are welded together. And even though this is a little crooked on the bottom, your fence that you're making here can make up for that, and you can straighten it out. So we'll do that. Then we'll select everything that's together. We will weld that. That looks better. Feel better about that. Bring this one over and get it lined up. Make it fit. Shift, select the fence. Weld. We got that. Now we can fix this end piece. And we'll kind of make it skinny like the other side. That should work. Drag it over. Now we will shift, select everything else, and weld. Okay, now we have a fence. And you can tell everything's grouped together. And we're going to put this somewhere in there. So let's put some tabs. Let's see. We will put the werewolf in the back there somewhere. Let's make these tabs, these smaller tabs, because of the kerf. We'll make them 9.5 because the tabs were 10, so we'll make the slots 9.5. And then the width was 3, so we'll make these 2.5. So now our slots should be tight enough to fit. So we'll just throw the werewolf here. We will throw the zombies over here. We will throw the tombstone over here. And throw the cat over here somewhere. And then we need to get one for the fence. And when you've got something that's odd shaped, centering your slot doesn't always work. So let's put a tab on here, and then we can set this where we want it to be. So this tab needs to be 10 by 3. So we're going 10. And you can make them anything you like. This is just purely for demonstration purposes. But we're going to cut it out and make sure it works. And if it doesn't work, I will let you know. So snap that to it and center on this, on your fence. So shift, click, and do a vertical alignment. And that was pretty good. Okay, now we want to weld, so click the tab, shift, click the fence, and weld, and there we go. So now pull this up and get it to where you think it looks, where you might want it, and then you can just put that tab where you want it to be. Alright, so that will go there. Okay, I think that's it, folks. So we need to cut this out. I'm going to group all of these tabs to the stage. And we're making just enough stuff that we can get it all cut out of one 12 by 12 sheet of 3mm plywood, because we know it's really only like 11.5 anyway. So we will see how we can set these up to fit. And see, I've done this again. I did not. That's going to cut out. So since I messed this up right here, see, I didn't go back and make it a score. So we're just going to let it cut out. And that'll be fine. That'll work fine. All right, folks. So let me get set up in the laser. I'll see how best these fit on one sheet. And then we'll get them cut out, and then we'll put it together and see how it looks. Okay, folks, that looks pretty good. We're going to put it together, but I'm going to cut another piece, and I'm going to fix this R right here because it cut out, and I should have just set it as score, or I could have attached a tab, made a tab, and let it touch the center piece, and then it would have held the center part of the R in there. But I'm going to recut it with a score, and then we're going to put this together, see what it looks like. Okay, be back shortly. Okay, folks, this is our creation. It turned out pretty good. I did go back and score the RIP. I'm going to try to put this on this charcuterie board and move it closer, because if I get up, my camera is going to get out of whack. I hope you can see that. I could have, if I'd have made a correction up front, I could have put a tab on the backdrop and let it touch the center of the R and the center of the P and welded it in, and then they would have been suspended. That would have looked pretty cool. The fence could have used a little more stability. I think I could have let the webs touch each other and then made the outer perimeter a little wider. So remember to do that resizing and everything you need to do to it before you put the tab on the bottom. That way it'll fit the slot you put in the base. And the slots, we made them slightly smaller than the tabs because of kerf. And remember, the kerf is the amount of material that the laser removes above and beyond what you specify. And most lasers are different. So get familiar with the kerf of your particular machine, and you'll be able to do that without any problem. So the characters, you can go out to the websites. Well, it's actually one website that I've got down in the description. All of them came from the same place. So go get these characters, grab any others. There's a lot of them out there to choose from. I believe we covered most of the techniques and functions in Lightburn that you would need to do this type of thing. So you can make you some more Halloween scenes. You can get ready for Christmas. Be a lot of ornaments and things to make. And we'll be doing more videos soon. So I really enjoyed doing it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I appreciate you watching. So y'all just take care, and we'll see y'all next time. Thank you.